Hi everybody, this is Sean. Welcome to the 20-minute hop. Happy to be with you today. Really looking forward to getting this flight on the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin up to Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. Relatively short flight, and we'll be running it in the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. Extremely exciting. I hope that you've had a chance to fly the new simulator. It just is incredible, and it is a new era in home flight simulation that is beyond anything that we have seen, and I just can't say enough about it. They just released a new patch with some updated features, including increased air traffic control and more voices in the ATC environment, and as well as scenery fixes and aircraft system fixes for many of the aircraft that come in the different versions. It's been a few days since we've been flying together on the 20-minute hop, but really looking forward to getting this going again and charging ahead as we are mid-September now. The fall weather will be beginning, and as we progress into the Rocky Mountain area, Canada and Alaska, of course, the weather, we will start to see colder temperatures and weather not necessarily conducive to VFR flying, but we'll do what we can do and make the best of it. That is the exciting part of aviation. I can speak to at least Alaska that even into November, it is still relatively temperate climate up there. We will continue carrying out what we plan to do from Oklahoma up to Barrow, Alaska. Let's get the scratch pad going and we will talk about the flight. Green Bay, Wisconsin to Sturgeon Bay, distance is 29 miles, estimated time en route is 11 minutes. This was planned with flying the A36 Bonanza. We will be flying it with a Cessna 152, so our estimated time en route will be a couple minutes slower. Again, taking off from Nautical Airport, 88 Whiskey India, runway 3 or 21, and then cruising up to Dewar County, Cherryland at 3,000 feet. I am going to add an additional point to our flight plan today because Green Bay is where I was born and lived for many years. And one thing I would like to do on today's flight is test the buildings and neighborhoods that we now have this capability in Flight Simulator. And I want to fly over my grandfather's old neighborhood to see what his house looks like. So we'll go into for flight here. We are going to load up our flight plan, select the star with the watch symbol or the instrument symbol, and scroll down to the appropriate file. I will go into aerial map to add a waypoint for my grandfather's old house. All right, we can zoom back out here. We don't need 4452. I want to verify that we are going to be clear of the Class Charlie airspace for Green Bay. All right, we will be under the outer veil. Outer veil begins at 1,900 feet MSL, and I can tell that right from this 47 and 19. Okay. So as long as we are below 1,900, we will be fine. Let's do 1,500 feet to Grandpa's and then proceed out of the Class Charlie, and I'm going to just create a little waypoint there so that we know we're clear there. We'll just use golf course here. There is golf course. Apparently, didn't know that. So we'll look for the golf course. Okay, let's verify that where the golf course is at using our aerial imagery again. Yep, there it is. Here we are at Nicolay, Cessna 152, sitting right outside my grandfather's old hangar. I was going through some things in my flight bag and came across some of my cue cards that I use in real world flight. Decided that I would incorporate some of these into the 20-minute hop to increase the realism and to increase the training value for myself. And hopefully through that, it will be a good example and it'll be providing some lessons for any of you out there that are wondering about what pilots are doing. And if you are a real pilot or you want to make your flight simulation more real, these are some things that you could incorporate in as well. So the first one that I have here is the blue card. It's the NFES 1129 12 question and answer assessment. And basically this just walks through talking about the intentions of our flight. Is this flight really necessary? So starting out, we'll say yes. If the flight wasn't necessary, 20-minute hop would never leave Green Bay. Definitely a yes there. I am in charge as the single pilot in command of the flight today. All hazards identified. The weather is good, and we're already looking at the aeronautical charts flying out of Green Bay to stay clear of the Class Charlie airspace. We are flying out of a grass strip here at Nicolet, and then flying up to a paved airstrip at Sturgeon Bay. Other than that, no other hazards recognized. In the event of a communications change, if the weather significantly changes on us, if there's any confusion, turbulence, personnel issues, or conflicting priorities, we will stop the flight and divert and sort all that out. Is there a better way to execute? It's a very short distance from Nicolet to Sturgeon Bay. We are going to say no. Is there an overwhelming sense of urgency? Not necessarily, just a anxiousness to get underway. It's been several days since I've flown 20-minute hop. I do recognize that I will be slightly rusty. We are now flying in the Cessna 152 as well. Very basic aircraft. I have a good amount of hours in the Cessna 152, but this is the first time that we are flying cross country on 20-minute hop in the Cessna 152. So be aware of that. Are actions justified? Go with yes. Is there an escape route? Of course, we'll be on the lookout for places to divert in the event of emergency. Something else too, as we get closer to taxiing out here, we will talk about our escape route in the event of an engine failure coming out of Nicolet. Are any rules being broken? No. Are communications becoming tense? No. And deviations from assigned flight operations? No. Also want to incorporate the passenger brief. Even though there's no passengers on board today, just you watching the channel, this is something that I want to continue to be smooth on and have a flow, because when you are flying with somebody, you want to instill confidence in your passengers. This is a good opportunity to practice this as well. We're flying a Cessna 152. I am the pilot in command. In the event of emergencies, I will fly the airplane, and for my passenger, I will ask them to hold the checklist and read any items. This aircraft does have seatbelts and shoulder harnesses, and we will wear them on taxi, takeoff, and landing. If we were really in the airplane, I would brief how to use the seatbelt and shoulder harness. Doors and windows, I would demonstrate how to use the doors and windows. Seats adjusted and locked. We are not going to smoke at all while we are near the airplane or inside of the airplane. The environmental controls, I would demonstrate that. We do have a heater inside the aircraft, and we do have air vents at the edge of the windshield where the wing meets the cockpit. No oxygen on the Cessna 152. Will be very low altitude, so oxygen is not a factor. If you have passenger discomfort, I always fly with air sickness bags, and if the passenger is feeling discomfort, we will talk about that and what we can do. No fire extinguisher on the Cessna 152. Brace positions, we'd like to talk about that in the event that we had a forced landing. Emergency evacuation plan. Open the door before we touch down on the ground, and then we will exit the aircraft towards the tail and on a 45-degree angle. And then once we are clear of the airplane, we will meet up basically directly aft of the airplane, 100 feet off the tail. I always fly with an emergency and survival kit, and I would brief where that is. Obviously, it's going to be, you have a 2-seat airplane, and the bag will be right behind the seats. No other equipment to talk about. And we have sterile cockpit expectations when we're talking. So from takeoff to landing, we are going to focus on the flight at hand, especially in the airport environment when we're taxiing out, when we're on our climb out, when we're approaching that airport, and when we're coming into land. We are only going to talk about things associated with coming into land. The caveat is when we're in cruise flight, we can talk about things, we can point things out, we can have a conversation, everything. If there's an urgent condition at any point in the flight, the passenger is welcome to speak up, of course. And if there are any questions, by all means. And then if we see traffic, we're going to be doing what's called see and avoid. So if we see an airplane, we are going to avoid it. And if the passenger sees the airplane, I'm going to be talking about any traffic I see. And if the passenger sees traffic, the idea is that you can either just tell me in the most simplest terms or use the clock position. And when you look at the face of a clock, 12 o'clock is directly ahead of us, 3 o'clock is our right wing, 6 o'clock is our tail, and 9 o'clock is our left wing. So we're going to use the clock positions to point my eyes to where that traffic is. If the passenger says, oh, it's over there, it's there, see, and they're pointing with their finger, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to necessarily spot that at first. But if someone spots the traffic, if my passenger spots the traffic, I want them to just keep their eyes on the traffic until I can verify that I have the traffic in sight as well. But again, we're only going to talk, and this is called stereo cockpit. So again, when we're taxiing and takeoff, coming into land, and when we're on the ground, we only want to talk about things that are about the flight and about the airplane. Lastly, we already touched on traffic, and we're just using scanning and spotting techniques to spot any aircraft so that we can avoid them. And then lastly, any questions from the passenger. All right, we're going to get this airplane started here. Before we crank, I want to listen to the Green Bay Airport weather.
1,100, broken 5,000, broken 6,500. Temperature 21 Celsius, dew point 13 Celsius, altimeter 3002. Remarks, density altitude 1,400. Green Bay Tower and approach control hours of operation are at 0600 local time, 22200 local time. Runway lights are preset on step 3. Airport and approach lighting are pilot controlled on 118.7. For approach control service and additional information, contact Minneapolis Center on 12555. Austin Straubel International Airport. Automated weather observation 2243 Zulu. Wind 360 at 08. Visibility 10. Sky condition scattered 4,100. Broken 5,000. Broken 6,500. Temperature 21 Celsius. Dew point 13 Celsius. Altimeter 3002. Remarks.
And we'll get the weather for Sturgeon Bay real fast here too.
Zulu. Wind 010 at 08. Visibility 10. Sky condition overcast 4,900. Temperature 18 Celsius. Dew point 13 Celsius. Altimeter 3003. Remark. Density altitude 1,100. Door County Cherryland Airport. Automated weather observation 2245 Zulu. Wind 010 at 08. Visibility 10. Sky condition overcast.
All right, got good weather. Plenty of ceiling, and when they report the weather, it is in above ground. So we've got at least 5,000 feet of clearance, so that'll be no problem flying at 3,000 up to Sturgeon Bay. I got altimeter set 3002, and let's get the checklist done here and out of here. All right, pre-flight inspection complete. I do still owe you a pre-flight inspection, so now that we're in the Cessna 152 for a few days, we will do a Cessna 152 walk-around inspection. All of you can see what that is, and then when we transition back into the Bonanza, the first thing before we fly, I will do a walk-around. And that's a beautiful thing about Flight Simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator is the new drone camera makes interacting with the outside of the aircraft very, very smooth. Fuel shutoff valve, it is on. Radio's electrical equipment is off. Lights are off. Holding the brakes. Circuit breakers are all in. And let's just double check pre-flight inspection. Control wheel lock. Ignition switch is off. Master switch is off. Fuel quantity indicators. We have 20 gallons on board. Master switch is off. Fuel shutoff valve is on. These are the exterior walk-around items. Starting engine. Extra rich. Carb heat's cold. Prime. So if we're really in the real airplane, the primer, we would pull it out. We would let the fuel actually fill that fully. And you can hear it, that's kind of squirting sound. That is the fuel in the chamber of the primer. It's shooting it in really, really quick. We would actually hold it out. We'll do one more. That squirting sound is the fuel injecting into the cylinders. Throttle half-inch propeller area. Before we start the prop, I want to make sure we got our hubs, 1.5, and tack, 1.5 and 1.5. Clear prop. Start time 1750. Beacon on, nav lights on. A lot of people will say don't fly with your nav lights on during the day, but I like the aspect of having the nav lights on. It is just a little bit more visual recognition for anyone near the aircraft, any other aircraft flying in your vicinity. So that's my safety stance on that. Master switch, lights, ignition switch, throttle, oil temp, and oil pressure is approaching the green. Make sure we got our taxi light on. We do, and we will taxi. And we'll get clear of the hangar buildings, and then we'll do our run up. Okay, holding the brakes. Off.
Brake set.
Holding the brakes.
Cabin doors closed and latched.
Closed and latch.
Flight controls free and correct.
Good on the left. Good on the right. Full forward and full back. Flight instruments. Compass is 232. We got our gyro set here.
Flight instruments set. Fuel shoot-off valve on.
It's on.
Mixture rich.
Mixture's rich.
Elevator trim takeoff.
It's the takeoff.
Brakes hold.
Holding the brakes.
Throttle 1,700 revolutions per minute.
Nice little vibration in the panel there. Very cool. Check our mags. Left. Slip drop. Back to both. Right. Back to both. Check our carb heat. Slight drop. Carb heat back on. Engine instruments and ammeter. Oil pressure's in the green. Oil temperature is good. Amperes. I don't really like the look of that. working there. It is working. Okay. Suction is in the green.
Yos, set. Beacon nav strobe lights, on as required. Throttle, 1000 revolutions per minute. Throttle friction lock, adjust. Brakes, release. Checklist complete.
Alright, so radio is set, beacon nav, strobe lights. Strobes on. Nicolay traffic, Cessna 45981. Taking runway 22 back taxi for departure, Nicolay. Clear on the left, clear on the right. There is a community improvement that has been done for the 152. I have not downloaded that yet. All right. Normal takeoff. Wing flaps 0, carb heat cold, throttle full open, elevator control, climb speed 65. Here we go. Takeoff time. Airspeed's live. Knots rotate. To 1,500 and we will proceed to, man, I didn't start up for flight here. Nicolay traffic, Cessna 45981, departing the pattern to the west, Nicolay. All right, we got 4 flight going now. Looks like the VA Medical Center. That's definitely Bear Creek School, the water tower. Difficult to find it there. We're gonna just continue on now to Sturgeon Bay. Thanks for bearing with me on that. There are still some issues of the complete global scenery that is not completely there. But it definitely is not a no-go item. In the last flight, where we just did our first flight around Nicolay, I was joking that there are way too many trees. So again, this is phenomenal. And the fact that it was hard to find my grandpa's house, well, okay. Whatever. I'll come back and use the drone camera and try to find it some other time. All right, so let's climb on up to 3,000 and we will the engine sputtering back and forth. There's something with my throttle calibration. So right now I'm just trimming the airplane. hands-off climb attitude here. Yeah, that's funny. So if I just bring my throttle back a touch, then it goes back to full power. If it's pushed all the way to the firewall on my CH throttle quadrant. All right, we are clear of the Class Charlie airspace. Oh. You would think I had the autopilot on with the way that the aircraft's just maintaining 1,500 feet here. Checklist full open, mixture rich, above 3,000. I actually am leaning it just a little bit. See if we can get a little bit more performance. Yeah, we're Yes. How the heck did the flaps get down? I do not know why that does that. There's something with the flaps. And it might just be the fact that they're set for the F8 key, but we were
Nation AWAS is 128.325.
128.325. I am not touching the flaps. I do not know why they keep going down. Alright, we will call this the time for the approach. 8. Look at that. My flaps went down again. It's got something I have set up either on my mouse or something is causing those flaps to go down. Zero, field elevation 724, traffic pattern 1724. So let's start our descent now. So down to 724. Definitely go into control settings and figure out where another assignment is for flaps. That's not good. The field, stay above the traffic pattern. And I see the airport out there. There's the airport right there. Surgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 45981 is a Cessna 152, 10 miles to the southwest at 2,200 will enter the pattern for runway 10 on a 45 for left traffic, Sturgeon Bay. tower at Sturgeon Bay. It's an uncontrolled field. I'm just using my who I am, or who I'm calling, who I am, what I am, where I'm at, and what we're going to do. So once again, Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 45981 is a Cessna 152, 10 miles to the southwest at 2,200, and we'll be entering the pattern for runway 10 on a 45 for left traffic, Sturgeon Bay. We can get our descent checklist here. For landing checklist, seatbelt and shoulder harness, fixture full wrench, and carb heat on. And we will do carb heat on the downwind. I learned to fly in a Cessna 152, but I did my check ride in a Cessna 150, and then that was in 1998. And about 2006 or so, my grandfather added another airplane to his stable, and he bought a Cessna 150 in the hopes that my cousin was going to learn how to fly, and he took some flying lessons, but he was into athletics and things, so he just had a really, really busy schedule when he was in his teen years. But I got to fly the 150 quite a bit, and now that airplane is for rent at Green Bay Jet Air, the FBO in Green Bay. So if you ever want to fly 22077, it's a great little airplane. But Ed and I did a very similar flight to this from Nicolay up to Sturgeon Bay. And so this is kind of a recapturing that. We didn't fly over my grandpa's house, but nonetheless, we flew up to Sturgeon Bay, did a landing or two, and then we flew back. And that was, about 13 years ago, I guess. If you look at my logbook. Alright, so we'll descend down to 1700 now. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 45981 is 5 miles to the south, descending through 2100, and we'll enter the 45 for runway 10 left traffic, Sturgeon Bay. So, my situational awareness just recognized that my SA is off slightly. Alright, let's go back up to 2200. I'm setting up for a landing on runway 19 with this pattern. So, what we're going to do is we will just climb up to 2200. We'll fly the field at 2200. and then we'll descend down and enter the left traffic for 10. Left traffic, left traffic. Okay, now we can do a little sightseeing of the town of Sturgeon Bay down there. This is a beautiful part of Wisconsin too. It's a very, very popular place. Lots of people come up here to camp and to shop. There's all these beautiful little boutiques and country stores. And they're actually, I don't know how much cherries they still grow, but that's why this is Cherryland Airport, because there are there was quite a big cherry industry up here for quite a while, and there still is some cherries, Door County cherries. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 459 or 81 over the field at 2,200, and we'll enter the 45 for runway 40 left traffic, Sturgeon Bay. Traffic, Cessna 459 or 81, 30 miles to the northwest, 1,900, entering the 45 for runway 2 left traffic, Sturgeon Bay. That is beautiful. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 459 or 81, 2 mile 45 for runway 2, full stop, Sturgeon Bay. 459 right 1, left downwind runway 2, full stop Sturgeon Bay. Numbers. Still 4th flight here. Automatically. Who knows, there's probably some setting that's in this that, I don't know, something your power set certain way and the flaps come down, I don't know, figure it out. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 459 right 1, left base runway 2, Sturgeon Bay.
Hundred.
100 feet. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 459 right 1, final runway 2, full stop Sturgeon Bay. One hundred, 50, 40, 30, 20.
Approaching runway 10. Entered runway 1028.
That's why I had 10 in my head, because there is a runway 10. Sturgeon Bay traffic, Cessna 459 right 1, crossing 1028. Sturgeon Bay traffic, 459 right 1, clear of the active Sturgeon Bay. Off, downtime, 7:56, 48 minutes. Checklist there. After landing checklist, card off. Wraps up. nice. Alright, shutdown checklist. Parking brake set. Brakes electrical off. Mixture cut off. Ignition switch off and key out. Master switch off, and I turn my strobes off after we cleared the runway. Set the trim. All right, securing aircraft checklist complete. Quite the bustling airport here in Sturgeon Bay this evening. Well, everyone, thank you for flying on the 20-minute hop with me. I hope you enjoyed this hop to Sturgeon Bay this evening. Look forward to flying with you on the next one, where we'll be going to Oconto, Wisconsin, a short flight across Green Bay, and where I used to live when I was 12 years old for a short time. So looking forward to that flight, and once again, appreciate your time. For the 20-minute hop, I'm Sean. We'll see you next time. So long.